It's a busy week here this week at Garden Crossings. Our production team is getting everything prepped and ready for our 2026 1-gallon shrubs. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today we're going to just take a walk through the greenhouse. It's been a while since we've actually come in and shown you the behind the scenes of what's going on, and it's exciting to watch just what all goes into actually bringing these 1-gallon shrubs to your door. For those of you who are new, Garden Crossings is a mail order company who sends shrubs all over the United States. We also have our retail garden center located in Zeeland, Michigan, for those of you who are near or who would like to take a drive to come and check us out. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the team is working on today, getting these shrubs ready for you for 2026. The first shrub shipment arrived earlier today, and we're actually going to be getting 2 shipments in this week. But with so much to process, we wanted to do it over a couple day window. So the shrubs were all brought in here on these wooden racks and stacked nicely by variety. So the team is going through and checking off their list to make sure that we got all of the plants that we were supposed to be getting today. And actually, this is kind of funny. This is the hydrangea Let's Dance Lovable. And this is one of our most popular of the big leaf hydrangeas. So what do these plants look like when they come in? Let's go ahead and try and pull one out here a minute. So this is our 1 quart size shrub. As mentioned, this is a Let's Dance Lovable, just to kind of give you an idea of what they look like when they come in. So first they're going through and just checking off the list to make for sure everything came that was supposed to. The next thing they'll do is, if need be, they'll go through and do any trimming that may be needed on these plants. Actually, it looks like they came in pretty good shape. Doesn't look like a whole lot of trimming needs to be done. So that's going to really help us expedite the planting process, because we don't have to go through and do a lot of maintenance on these plants. When we get them from Spring Meadow Nursery, these are actually run through a trimming machine that they have at their facility, and that's why the plants are all very even across the top, is because they set it at a certain level and just go ahead and trim away. Right now, let's see, these are panicle hydrangea. Let's see if I can tell which ones they are. I don't really have the stickers on the other side of the pot, but a lot of times you can kind of recognize the plants that are brought in just by the foliage, which is kind of cool. One thing you'll notice on these pots is this is rice hulls, and we actually are going to go through and remove all of that rice hull. And part of the reason why is because it does keep the weeds from coming in, but what it also does is it makes a terrible mess all over the greenhouse. We'd find rice hulls everywhere if we didn't go through and get them all cleaned up. So for us, when we do our planting, we don't have a big issue with weeds, but if we do, we go through and just hand weed as needed if that needs to be done. It's a better process for us anyways than keeping all these rice hulls and just having a messy greenhouse everywhere. Here's the incredible arborescent Stormproof. So you can see these come in only about as a 2 or 3 inch plant, so they're not super big when they come into us. But look at what we're doing, and what they do is by trimming these plants is it's creating more branching. You'll see some new growth, and the more cuts we can get on these plants before they get sent out to you, the better branch the plant is and the thicker and fuller it'll be, which in turn results in a lot more flowers. So this is the first step, is just inventory, making sure everything is correct, the numbers are correct, the plants look good, and that they are all trimmed up and nice quality. We're going to head out to the shipping barn next and take a look at what the next step in the process is. Here in the shipping barn, the team is going through all these shrubs, and again, if any trimming needs to be done that was missed out there, they're nipping them and getting them trimmed up nicely. They're also going through and removing all of the rice hulls off the plant. Basically, they're just going and just rubbing it all off into this trash bin that's going to all get put into our compost pile. Also, what she's doing is she's removing the plant from the pot, and the reason why we do that is once it gets out to the planting area, it's a lot quicker for the planters when they just have to grab the plant and not remove it from the pot. So basically, they're just setting it back in the tray again. That way they know what plants these are. These are the Ilex Castle Wall. And this will get sent back to our planting team, and they'll be just knocking it out by pulling the pot out of the tray. This is done within about a 12-hour period of time, so these plants are not sitting in without being in a pot for any amount of time. We've got 6 people in here today working on getting these plants all cleaned up. Here's some fun ones. Here's a Rosa Sharon blooming. So sometimes these plants do have blooms on them. Usually if they have blooms on them, we are going to remove the blooms, because once they get planted, we want that energy to go into the roots to get these plants established and ready for the next season. Here's some carts just ready to head back to our planting area. And as you can see, they're all removed from the tray, but placed back into the tray from which they came from. That way there's not any mix-up as to what plant is what. Some plants have distinct foliage, but when you're talking hydrangeas and such, there's no way to really tell them apart except for the tag that is on the plants. A lot of gorgeous boxwood. Oh, look at all those beauty. This is a boxwood neat ball. Our shipping team is just finished up for the day, so they are going to be heading out back shortly, and they are going to be getting their hands dirty and planting up all of these gorgeous shrubs that we are seeing. So one team is out taking inventory on all the plants, and another team is trimming the plants up, cleaning them up, and pulling them from their pots. We have another team who is getting all of the labels put onto these green stakes. These are going to all get snapped onto the pots at the time of planting. And as you can see, there's a lot of different stakes and tags that we will be doing. I think there's about 350 or so different varieties of shrubs that we get from Spring Meadow Nursery, from Proven Winners. And most of them get planted up into our gallon pot program. So here's just a few more. It looks like there's a lot of Rosa Sharon and some bottle brush, the Durvilla, some dogwoods. So basically what the team's doing is they have these little green stakes, and they just have to snap the tag through a hole that's already pre-punched, and they're putting it in a container, and basically they're keeping all of the same tags in a container so that way they don't get mixed up, number one, and it's just easier to grab for those that are going to be clicking them into the pots out in the shipping area. Bloomerang Ballet, oh, that's been a good one this year. Dark purple, this is a very popular lilac for us. So boxes upon boxes of green stakes and boxes upon boxes of tags. So before they get clicked into those green stakes, they're all packaged here, and they have these rubber band type things on them, but we don't use those. Some growers will just kind of put those over top of a branch, but for us, we like to click them in the green stakes and have them securely to the pot. So these all have to get cut off before they get them clicked onto those stakes. Earlier in the week, the gallon pots all ran through our sticker machine and got their unique barcode labels on them. So not any plant that leaves our facility leaves without a unique barcode label to the plant that is in it. So basically what this label tells us is the plant's SKU, where it's located out in the greenhouse, that's its bucket number, along with the name of the plant, the size, which 8-inch is our true 1 gallon size container. A lot of companies will call a 1 gallon a 1 gallon, but it's actually only like a 2.5 quart. So ours are an 8-inch pot, which is a true 1 gallon. We also list the week that it was planted and then the type of greenhouse it has to go into. So this one actually has to go into a cooler greenhouse. Some of them may say warm on them. We also have on the carts the week that the plants are getting planted, and yeah, all kinds of information. There's a lot that goes into growing plants in the greenhouse, and that little sticker is a lot of insight into that plant's journey. Some of the varieties we have also go in a deer-proof collection, and these are shrubs that are, they're deer-proof, but what that means is they've got a rating of a 1, which means that they are rarely or seldom browsed by deer. So if you're in our store and you see that deer-proof sign, that's what it means. That means that that's going to be a shrub that is seldom or rarely browsed by deer, because obviously we know that not every plant is 100% deer-proof. If a plant or if an animal is hungry enough, it's going to eat, you know, what it wants. So this here that we're walking through is some of our old inventory, or inventory that we're still selling out of for the current season. We've got some shrubs back there. And then we have a bunch of perennials and such in this greenhouse as well. So it's kind of fun this time of year to see all of the various plants putting on their summer blooms. Where the shrubs are going to go actually is way down yonder. I'm going to see if I can zoom in. Multiple greenhouses to get to the location they're going to. So as I zoom in here, you can probably see it's a little blurry, but all that empty floor, that is where we're going to go in just a little bit to see the plants as they're getting set down. I actually see the team kind of headed this way, and they're getting ready to get their next batch of shrubs. All those empty carts have already been set down. So they're headed back here to the shipping barn to reload up and bring them out to set more down. Thank goodness it's not a super hot day like it's been over the last few weeks, so this is a more comfortable job for them. Let's go head on out to the planting barn where all these plants are getting planted. Looks like they're gathering another load to head out back. You can see all these shipping carts here are full of plants. These here too are going to head out to get set down in just a little bit. And here is where all the planting action is happening. So we've got two lines running right now. They are running on our Stilt Pro potting machine. And looks like one group is planting some euonymus Gold Splash, and the other line is planting an Ilex Berry Heavy. You can see all the tags that were earlier put on their stakes are all waiting there. So we'll take a look here at this first line and show you how the process goes. So these Stilt Pro potting machines that we got a few years ago have been absolute amazing for getting this job done a lot quicker. So the machine drops the soil into the pot and kind of recycles it back up into the hopper bin, whatever is not used. So anything that she's not using to plant the shrubs up will just kind of get recycled back through again. So they'll put a little bit of soil in the bottom of the pot, stick the plant in, and then fill in around the edges of the plant with the soil as it's coming out of the hopper. It then goes down a conveyor system where the tags get snapped into place. And once that's done, they get set onto the transport racks where they'll soon be brought out to the greenhouse. The other line is, again, similar process. Let's actually get on the back side of them so you can see a different angle of how this happens. So with these Stilt Pro potting machines, we have them back to back. Usually you'd purchase one, but we had them kind of custom configured or whatever to go back to back for our planting needs. This way, when we put a big bulk bag of soil up, it splits into either one of those machines to fill them up. So here it is from this side, how the process works. We do have control over how much soil comes out at a time, so they are able to adjust that based on what they want it to do. So the soil's dropping a little bit in the bottom of the bucket, container, filling in around the edges and sending it downward down the track. More tags snapped into place. So just behind me here, we have some of the plants being brought in. I had showed you earlier how these plants are all removed from the containers before they're brought back here. So this way it's easier for them to plant. They just grab that plant right out of the tray. On the back end of what's going on here, all areas are important. We have the pots that have been brought in, and they're all set on these racks in order of which they need to be grabbed. So the guy on the back end here is supplying them with their empty pots to be potted up. He's also supplying them with the plants that are needed for the planting. And when the soil gets low, he heads outside, grabs the high-low, and is replenishing the hopper with soil. Also, too, they got a computer here so they know what varieties are next, how many are needed to be planted. And I think he's even kind of keeping track of how quick it takes them, or how long it takes them, however you want to look at it, to get a variety planted. So it's kind of fun and interesting to see how quickly this job actually gets done. This used to be a few weeks, maybe 2-3 week process back in the day when we were doing it how we originally did it, which wasn't super efficient. But since we got these planting machines, Realistically, they could potentially have this job done in about 2 or 3 days. So we'll see. A lot of that will depend on the weather. Right now, it's a fairly comfortable day, so they're able to work, at a decent clip because they're not super hot. So here we're going to be able to see the soil getting dropped down into the hopper in just a moment. So that soil will drop down in there. And as it kind of empties out, it'll continue to just fall down in and replenish the girls with the soil they're needing for planting. All right, so a lot of movement going on in this little room, so I am going to back out of their way and let them continue to get done what they're needing to do without me interrupting them or being in the way while they're getting it done. Definitely, this is a well-oiled machine back here. We've got a great crew in all of the various areas doing all of the various jobs that are needing to be done to get this big project complete. And the last step in the process is actually taking these plants out into the greenhouse and getting them all laid down. So there's a pattern that they're laying them down in. When we lay them down, we alternate kind of in a zigzag pattern. That way, as they grow, they have more space to grow. This is only their temporary home. They'll be here probably until December or so. And then once we get to December, we'll go through and let the plants that are going to drop their leaves drop all the leaves, and then they'll get brought into a different greenhouse where they'll grow throughout the winter and find their final place where they'll be in the spring as well. So you can see this is a process that's just getting started, just at the very beginning of our planting process. And looks like all of these plants in here right now are all evergreens. And I think based off of what we just saw, there were some evergreens and there was also some plants that are going to lose their leaves as well. But typically they'll plant plants together that have similar growing conditions. And who knows, he might even flip over to another greenhouse once we get to those hollies that we had seen earlier. Thankful that it's a little bit cooler day today, because this would be an absolutely awful job if it was as hot as it's been. And this is probably the worst job in the process because you have no air condition. A lot of the team has been working in air conditioned spaces, so they've been able to keep semi-cool in the process of what they're doing. But the team that's out here is really busting it in the heat. And this is Logan, and he's doing a great job right now. So that is what goes into getting the shrubs all planted and ready for the 2026 season. A lot of love put in by a lot of our employees, and we appreciate each and every one of them for what they do. Thank you for watching the process today of how we get our 1-gallon shrubs planted up and ready for the following season. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you're new to our channel, we welcome you to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.